Imagine a world on the brink. It's 1940, the Nazis are on the march. Europe trembles, but in this reality, one man does not stand to defy the darkness. Winston Churchill, the fiery orator, the defiant leader, never takes the helm in Britain's darkest hour. His voice, a beacon of hope in our timeline, is silent. This is a history where the British bulldog never barks his defiance. What becomes of the world without him? How does the course of the Second World War change? The very fate of freedom hangs in the balance. May 1940. The world watches in horror as Hitler's war machine cuts through Europe. Poland has fallen, Denmark and Norway are occupied, the Low Countries crumble. France, once a bastion of military might, is on the verge of collapse. This is the backdrop against which Churchill, in our timeline, rises to power.
But in this alternate history, the weight of leadership falls on other shoulders, shoulders perhaps less capable of bearing the immense responsibility. The free world stands on the precipice. The survival of liberty itself is at stake.
In our reality, Churchill's leadership was pivotal. His speeches, filled with defiance and resolve, rallied the British people. "We shall fight on the beaches," he declared, his words echoing through the airwaves, a stark contrast to the Nazi propaganda machine. "We shall never surrender." Churchill's unwavering belief in victory, even when all seemed lost, gave hope to a nation facing its darkest hour. He became a symbol of resistance, not just for Britain, but for all those who opposed tyranny. But in this counterfactual, that voice is never heard. The impact is profound. Neville Chamberlain, the architect of appeasement, is one figure who might have remained in power. Haunted by the horrors of the First World War, Chamberlain sought peace at almost any cost. His policy of appeasement, while well-intentioned, only emboldened Hitler.
In this alternate timeline, would Chamberlain have continued his attempts to negotiate with Hitler? Or, faced with the reality of Nazi aggression, would he have been forced to take a more hardline stance? The consequences of his decisions would have reverberated across the globe.
The Halifax hypothesis, seeking accommodation with a tyrant.
Another contender is Lord Halifax, a prominent figure in the British government. Halifax, like Chamberlain, believed that a negotiated peace with Hitler might be possible. He represented a faction within the British establishment that saw accommodation with Nazi Germany as the only way to avoid a catastrophic war.
In this parallel history, with Churchill out of the picture, Halifax might have been able to pursue his policy of appeasement. What concessions would he have been willing to make? Would Hitler have been satisfied? Or would Britain have found itself drawn into a conflict on Hitler's terms? The possibilities are as chilling as they are intriguing. A world adrift, America's uncertain role.
The United States, under the leadership of President Franklin Delano Roosevelt, played a critical role in the outcome of World War II. But America's entry into the war was not a foregone conclusion. Isolationist sentiment ran high in the U.S. Roosevelt, while sympathetic to the Allied cause, was constrained by public opinion.
Churchill's leadership and his ability to rally the British people against seemingly insurmountable odds was a key factor in swaying American opinion. Without Churchill's powerful voice advocating for American involvement, would Roosevelt have been able to overcome isolationist opposition and commit the United States to the war? The answer could have drastically altered the course of the 20th century. The shape of a different peace, a fractured Europe.
The aftermath of World War II saw the emergence of a new world order. The devastation left behind by the conflict was immense, and the world had to come together to rebuild and reshape the future. The United Nations, the Marshall Plan, and the division of Europe into Eastern and Western blocs were all products of this tumultuous period. These initiatives were not just political maneuvers, but were essential in stabilizing a world teetering on the brink of further chaos. But in a world where World War II had unfolded differently, perhaps with a negotiated peace or even a Nazi victory in Europe, the geopolitical landscape would be unrecognizable. The balance of power would have shifted dramatically, and the alliances we know today might never have formed.
The United Nations, founded on the ashes of a global conflict, might never have come into existence. Without this international body, global diplomacy would have taken a very different path, potentially leading to more isolated and fragmented nations. The Marshall Plan, a testament to American generosity and foresight, might never have been conceived. This plan was crucial in revitalizing the war-torn economies of Europe, fostering cooperation, and preventing the spread of communism. And the Iron Curtain might have fallen across Europe, dividing the continent not along ideological lines, but along the lines drawn by a victorious Third Reich. Such a division would have created a vastly different Europe, one where freedom and democracy might have been suppressed under authoritarian rule. The cultural and social revival that Europe experienced in the post-war years might have been stifled, altering the course of history and the development of modern European identity. The resilience and unity that emerged from the ashes of war were pivotal in shaping the Europe we know today.
Technology's trajectory, from radar to the atomic bomb. The Second World War was a period of unprecedented technological advancement. The urgency and scale of the conflict pushed nations to innovate at a pace never seen before. Laboratories and research facilities became the front lines of a different kind of battle, one fought with equations and blueprints. Radar, jet propulsion, and the atomic bomb were all products of the war's insatiable demand for new and more powerful weapons. These technologies not only changed the course of the war, but also laid the groundwork for future scientific and technological progress. The radar, for instance, revolutionized air and naval warfare by providing unprecedented situational awareness. But, the development of these technologies was not inevitable. Before the war, many of these ideas were in their infancy, mere theoretical concepts or rudimentary experiments. The war acted as a catalyst, accelerating their development and turning them into practical tools of warfare. It was driven by the exigencies of war, by the desperate need to gain an advantage over a ruthless enemy. Military leaders and scientists worked hand in hand, driven by the urgency of the situation. The stakes were incredibly high, and failure was not an option.
In an alternate timeline where the course of the war had been different, the trajectory of technological development might have been very different as well. Imagine a world where the war ended sooner or lasted longer. The technological landscape we know today could be unrecognizable. Would the atomic bomb, for instance, have been developed? The Manhattan Project was a monumental effort involving thousands of scientists and engineers. Without the war, such a massive mobilization of resources might never have occurred. If so, by whom and under what circumstances? Would another nation have taken the lead, or would the focus have shifted to other areas of research? The geopolitical landscape would have been vastly different, influencing the direction of scientific inquiry. The answers to these questions have profound implications for the modern world. The technologies developed during World War II have shaped our lives in countless ways, from the way we communicate to the way we understand the universe. Reflecting on this history helps us appreciate the complex interplay between conflict and innovation. Social upheaval and the post-war world. The Second World War had a profound impact not only on the political landscape but also on the social fabric of nations. The war effort demanded the mobilization of entire societies. Women entered the workforce in unprecedented numbers. Civil rights movements gained momentum. The old order was shaken to its core, but in a world where the war had played out differently, these social changes might never have occurred, or at least not at the same pace or with the same intensity.
The long shadow of leadership, Churchill's enduring legacy. Churchill's leadership during the Second World War was a pivotal moment in history. His defiance, his eloquence, and his unwavering belief in victory inspired a nation and helped to turn the tide of war. But his legacy extends far beyond the battlefields of Europe.
Churchill's words and actions continue to resonate in the 21st century, serving as a reminder of the importance of courage, determination, and the indomitable spirit of freedom. In a world where Churchill never rose to prominence, the world would undoubtedly be a very different place.
Echoes in the present, a world shaped by choices. Throughout history, the choices made by individuals and societies have had profound impacts, echoing through time to shape the world we know today. Exploring alternate histories is not merely an academic exercise. It is a way to delve into the complexities of human decision-making and the intricate web of cause and effect that defines our past. It allows us to appreciate the fragility of the present, the countless decisions and events that have shaped the world we live in. Each moment in history is a delicate balance of choices, where one decision can alter the course of events dramatically. By imagining different outcomes, we gain a deeper understanding of the forces that have shaped our world. This exercise in imagination helps us to see the interconnectedness of events and the ripple effects of decisions made long ago.
Churchill's absence in this counterfactual history serves as a stark reminder of the importance of leadership in times of crisis. His presence during World War II was pivotal, and imagining a world without his influence highlights the critical role of individual leaders. It compels us to consider the individuals who, through their courage, vision, and determination, have shaped the course of history. These leaders, whether celebrated or unsung, have made choices that steered the world in new directions. And it underscores the enduring power of choice, the knowledge that even in the darkest of times, the future remains unwritten. The decisions we make today will become the history of tomorrow, reminding us of our own power to shape the world. Thank you for watching, and please give us a thumbs up and subscribe if you enjoyed the content. And leave a comment if you have 5 ideas of other subjects you would like us to cover.